Friends, it is often said that science is the answer to every human need. But what happens when humans start misusing it solely for their greed? This is the story of a man who can create multiple versions of himself, exact copies. This means he can now do whatever he wants. However, he never imagined the consequences. What is that everything? Let's find out from the beginning in our new sci-fi movie Infinity Pool. The story begins with a wealthy couple, James and his wife, who have come to a third world country for a vacation. Since a large part of this country's population is poor, the crime rate is very high. Moreover, if someone commits a mistake here, the punishment is horrific and bizarre. There, for rich tourists coming from foreign countries to visit there, beaches are strictly allowed to stay only within a controlled resort. They cannot go outside its boundaries. Now, James is a book writer, but his books haven't been doing well lately. That's why his wife brought him here on holiday to refresh his mind and help him get new ideas. During this time, James meets another tourist named Gabby, who claims to be a huge fan of his books and invites James and his wife for dinner. In the evening, Gabby is joined by her husband, Albin. They tell James that Gabby is an actress and that they have been coming to this country for holidays every season for over 10 years. The two couples become friends. However, James feels that Gabby is trying to attract him. Despite being married and Gabby having a husband, James cannot stop himself from being drawn to her. Gabby then asks James and to go exploring outside the island with them the next morning. Although according to the rules they cannot go outside the restricted area, Gabby and her husband are doing this by bribing the authorities. So both couples start exploring the island together. On the way, they see the poor people of this country who don't even have money for food, but it doesn't matter to them. They were here to enjoy their holidays. The four of them decide to set up a tent near a deserted beach and enjoy the day there. While there, Albin jokingly asks why she, being so rich herself and having a wealthy father, married James, whose books don't sell well and for whom she pays all the expenses. Replies that she fell in love with James, so she married him despite his failure as a writer and brought him on holiday at her own expense so he could get new ideas for his new book. However, James's entire focus is on Gabby, who is also looking at James while avoiding everyone else's eyes. After a while, when James goes to relieve himself, Gabby follows him and, without saying a word, begins to give him manual pleasure. It was clear neither was thinking about their partners. As night falls and everyone becomes heavily intoxicated, they start driving back to their 5-star resort. Only James is somewhat conscious, so he begins to drive. But on the way, the car's headlights suddenly start malfunctioning. Since they were driving through the mountains, James's entire attention goes toward fixing the headlights and then a poor farmer appears in front of their car. After the collision, everyone is jolted awake. They go outside and see that the farmer James hit is already dead. James and frightened, want to call the police immediately to tell the truth. But Gabby stops them, saying the man is already dead and the laws in this country are very dangerous. She warns that if a man commits such a crime here, he is given the death penalty, while women are enslaved and mistreated. Moreover, since all four are drunk, everyone will be punished. Scared, they all return to the resort. Gabby and her husband had already bribed the guards, so they have no problem getting inside. However, as soon as morning comes, there is a knock at James's door. The local police have come to arrest him because they found out that James hit the farmer and fled. They take James to the police station and separate him from James becomes terrified because there seems to be no chance of survival. After a while, the head officer of the island, Thresh, comes to meet James. He reveals that according to the laws of this country, the son of the poor farmer will kill James to take his revenge. That is the law here. James is terrified to learn that he cannot escape. He has never heard of such strict laws. However, Officer Thresh then tells James about a loophole, a new discovery made specifically for rich tourists like James. Scientists in this country have discovered a technology through which they can experiment on a person and create an exact copy of them. According to Officer Thresh, the farmer's son will then kill James's clone to complete his revenge, and according to the law, James's punishment will be considered fulfilled. James has no other option, so, giving a statement that he was alone in the car, he takes money from his wife, and pays Thresh so they can create his clone and save him from death. James is sent to some doctors to create an identical clone of his body. During this, James learns that the process will not only create a perfect second version of him, but that clone will also have James's exact memories. Additionally, its physical body and everything else will be exactly like James's. In other words, there will be no difference between James and his version. His clone will be as real as James himself. After the process is complete, M tells him that today is his execution day. Both sit behind an invisible glass to watch the punishment. They see James's clone tied to a beam while the farmer's son approaches to take his revenge. Since James's clone has all the original memories, he feels as if he was the one who killed the farmer and is being punished for his crime. The farmer's son then proceeds with the execution. M is terrified seeing her husband's second version treated this way, but James feels something different today. He feels that he can now do anything. After the punishment, James is handed the ashes of his clone because it was his identical version. M, now scared, starts packing her bags quickly so they can leave this country forever and never return. But James notices that his passport is missing and he cannot go anywhere without it, so they have to stay for a few more days whether they like it or not. When James goes down to the resort reception to extend his stay, he sees Gabby. Gabby meets James and tells him that they already knew about the system of cloning humans in this country. She explains that once, due to her and her husband's mistake, several laborers were killed here. At that time, they also got their clones made to get rid of the trouble, and the clones received the punishment. Gabby and her husband come here every year for this reason and sometimes intentionally commit crimes because they will never be punished. Gabby further says that because the country is poor, rich people like them are actually helping the country by giving so much money. So James shouldn't feel bad. Gabby then takes James to the rest of her group. All these rich people come here every holiday to commit crimes. They can do anything because with their endless money, they escape punishment every time by creating clones. And now they have started enjoying all of this. Showing all this, Gabby convinces James to become free like them and spend the entire vacation in intoxication and fun. He can do anything. There are no restrictions on them. James begins to like this freedom. He has spent his whole life under restrictions. Even now he is married to a very rich girl, M, because of which no one respects him. Everyone feels James has no status of his own and is just living off his wife M's money. But for the first time since coming to this island, James realizes that he can do anything, and he decides to stay with Gabby's group instead of M. Without telling M anything, today, Gabby's group decides that they will all spread destruction together and have fun. First, they enter a shop while intoxicated and steal masks so they don't see their own faces in the mirror and can release the animal within them. After this, they enter a luxurious house belonging to a high-ranking minister of the country. They forcibly enter the house and take the minister and his children hostage. Gabby tells James that today is his first night and he shouldn't be afraid. Today he will commit his first crime, this time intentionally, because previously the car accident happened by mistake. Although James wants to do it, he is unable to. Meanwhile, as the others are urging James to do it, a bodyguard enters and shoots Albin, Gabby's husband, in the leg. Enraged, Gabby kills the guard along with all three hostages. James cannot understand how Gabby can be so cruel and violent. After this, the entire group returns to the resort and hides in their rooms. They decide together that they won't tell anyone about Albin being injured, so no one suspects them. However, by morning, everyone is caught because they had committed such a huge crime. They were chill, thinking they would just pay money, have clones made, and leave. But then Officer Thresh comes and gives everyone bad news. He says that this time they have crossed the line. They kill the high-ranking minister and his family, so they cannot escape this time. The others offer many times more money, but according to the officer, no amount of money can save them this time. Everyone is taken to the execution room where they will be killed. James tries to run first, so he is punished first and killed. After that, Gabby, Albin, and everyone else are killed one by one. This means their money couldn't save them this time. But then, surprisingly, the other versions of all of them were watching and enjoying the execution from a distance. In fact, those who were punished were all clones. As everyone already knew, there is no difference between the clones and real humans. Their memories and bodies are the same. Therefore, every clone felt they were being punished for their crime and that their money couldn't save them. But in reality, they were clones. This happens every time with every clone. They think they escaped last time by making a clone, but failed this time. They don't even suspect they are clones themselves. Meanwhile, James starts enjoying the punishment of his versions along with the others. Today, he received the jar of ashes of his second clone. For James, these are like medals. But as soon as they return to the hotel, his wife M says they cannot stay here any longer. James has changed a lot while staying with these people. M insists that James leave with her right now. However, James reminds her that he doesn't have his passport and convinces M to leave alone for now, promising he will find a trick and follow her soon. After M leaves, James is completely free. Gabby invites him over for the evening. She shows him a tree that shuts down the human brain, meaning after inhaling It's smoke one loses consciousness. In the coming days, James changes completely. He knows nothing will happen to him, and he can do anything. The people in the group around him are just like that. Whatever they do, they can't be punished anyway. For tonight, they suggest kidnapping Officer Thresh and killing him because he has made a lot of money from them. James, who no longer cares about anything, agrees. They all quickly reach the police station. They leave James outside. First because he was too intoxicated while the others cover Thresh and kidnap him. They bring him back to the resort and tell James to get even more high. Then they start teasing James, saying he couldn't kill the leader before and hasn't killed anyone yet. They call him a coward, making James so angry that he beats the inspector severely. After that, James does even worse things to him. But then Gabby comes and shows his face, and it was another clone of James himself. In other words, they were all doing this just to mock him because they can't do anything to Inspector Thresh. He is the one who saves their lives by creating clones every time. So, why would they kill him? James couldn't understand this. Seeing his own version in such a state, James feels terrible and runs back to his room in anger. Tonight, for the first time, he became violent towards someone, and that toward his own version. James finally realizes how much he has changed since coming here. He has become an animal just like these people. So he goes to the bathroom, takes out his hidden passport, and decides to leave forever. This means that earlier when his passport was missing, James himself had hidden it because he wanted to stay here with Gabby and do all this. But now James understands everything, that he cannot stay here. The next morning, hiding from his group, he gets on a bus to go to the airport. But while he is on the way, Gabby and the rest of the group block the road and stop the bus. Since they feared nothing, Gabby and her group take James off the bus at gunpoint. They start tormenting James because he was running away from them. Meanwhile, Gabby reveals that they come to this country every year. Every time they come here, they commit crimes to their hearts, content, and free themselves. And then, when the holiday season is over, they return to their normal lives in their respective countries. That's why when they saw James, who was hidden in the shadow of his rich wife, they decided to include him in their group. A man like James, who never got freedom in life, would eagerly grab this golden opportunity. They wanted to include James in their group, which is why Gabby intentionally got close to James. In fact, she had told James at the beginning that she is an actress, meaning she was acting with James the whole time, and James never understood this. He was attracted and stayed here. James also realizes that the farmer who came under his car that night was probably intentionally thrown in front of his car by Gabby's group. In other words, it was all a trap so he would join their group, and it worked. Knowing all this, James angrily tries to snatch the gun from Gabby. When the others get out of the car, James runs into the nearby forest to save his life. During this, a bullet from Gabby hits his leg, but despite this, James keeps walking and faints at a farm by nightfall. Luckily, the farming family sees him and brings him inside to treat him. But when James regains consciousness at night, he sees no one in the house. He goes outside and sees Gabby and her group waiting for him. They have also killed the farming family because they won't be punished anyway. Gabby tells James that he has reached the final stage, and if he listens to them, they will include him in their group. Otherwise, they will kill him. Gabby then reveals that he will now have to kill his other version, the clone, because he has been regretting killing everyone so far. He didn't kill the leader earlier and stopped in the middle later. The farmer who came in front of his car was thrown by their people. So if James commits a crime here for the first time, he will become one of them. At first, James refuses because he doesn't want to become an animal like them. But then he finds out that his other version, the clone, was also offered that if he killed the real James, he could take his place. To save themselves, both Jameses start fighting each other. In the end, for his survival, the real James had to kill his clone. After this, Gabby says that James has finally become like them. After several weeks, the holiday season finally ends. The entire tourist resort is closed until the end of the rainy season because all tourists will only come back next year. On the last day, James calls Em to inform her that he will return today. By now, he had collected several jars of his clone's ashes. Packing all of them, he heads for the airport. On the bus, he sees Gabby and the rest of the group. They all come here every year on holiday to free themselves and then return to their normal lives for the rest of the year until next year's holiday season. For them, it was a routine. They have been doing this for several years. Everyone leaves the holiday life of this country behind and takes their respective flights to their countries. But James is not like them. After everything that happened to him on this holiday, he can never be normal again. He knew deep down that there was no place left for him in his normal world. Under the influence of those people, he committed so many wrong acts. Gabby and her group even killed the family that saved his life on the farm just to catch him. So after everyone else leaves, James doesn't take the flight and returns to the resort. He is the only one left here now. But for James, he is never going to leave from here. James's whole story also acts as a metaphor. James was pure in the beginning, like babies, born in the world. Then greed entered his mind and lust for Gabby was awakened. After that, even when he made a mistake, he found out that nothing would happen to him. From there, James abandoned his original character and started changing. He enjoyed every pleasure that felt right to him. He was free to do anything. But gradually, he began to understand that every pleasure has a price. He cannot torment others to enjoy pleasure himself. Furthermore, the jars of ashes of his own versions that James receives also signal how corrupt he was becoming each time. By the time he realized he was doing wrong, it was too late. He cannot leave his past actions behind. He cannot pretend he did nothing, and he will have to stay here and suffer it all. How did you like the story of the movie and the metaphor hidden in it? Share your thoughts in the comments. Also, subscribe to the channel for more unique videos like this.